So working with academics, specifically academics that are doing research, because some academics are more teaching academics, but typically when I'm working with academics that are doing research, they're generally towards the end of their research cycle or period or process, that they have to adhere to very specific research protocols and ethics, for example, is a good one. And that research might take several years, but then typically when they're at the end of that research process, they might use their findings and disseminate those findings at something like a conference. So that is typically when I'm brought in to help them to disseminate or spread the information or their research findings to a broader audience. And so when I'm sitting with an academic or a team of academics, we would have a conversation. We'd analyse what are the research findings. Some of them are still evolving, but some of them are known. So we look at, well, what's the research and what are the findings? How does that relate? More specifically, who is the audience? So sometimes the audience is other academics, or sometimes the audience is enrolled students. Sometimes the audience is the general public, because the research findings are of a nature that they need to be spread more broadly. So from a learning design or instructional design perspective, we sit down, and that's a really good moment, really good opportunity to talk about and negotiate not so much the content, because the content to a large degree is determined by the research findings. So, and the academics know that. And so I tend to talk about what are the possibilities. You know, would a video be the best choice for spreading this information further? Maybe it's for one particular project several years ago, one of the pieces of research was communicated via a piece of cardboard that sat on a person's fridge that their children coloured in, and that was related to healthy living, healthy eating. So that mechanism was deemed to be the best choice, or the most appropriate for the target audience, for the research findings. So in that particular instance, I found an illustrator. I worked with an illustrator. We had a series of these cards. So understandably, not all research can be interpreted into a fridge card, colouring in. So more common is a suite of videos, say 5 videos. Videos are really a great way if it's a human story about something. And so there's a phase where we're analysing, well, what is it that we're trying to communicate? How much time do we have? How much money do we have to spend? Who's involved? Who are the other stakeholders? Are there research assistants? Is it a consortium? And so with that in mind, I'm just got to gather my thoughts now. Then we start to get into the design and development considerations. And so now I've worked on a lot of these projects over many years with maths researchers, learning and teaching researchers, psychology researchers, cognitive science, medical. So whilst I'm not a subject matter expert in those areas, I can bring a learning and teaching perspective and a communication perspective to analyse, again, what's being communicated or what needs to be communicated, and what's the best mechanism. And so typically, because these are existing or playing out within a higher education university context, there's always going to be internal websites, internal intranet sites, other platforms that the general public don't get to see, or public-facing websites, learning management systems, LMSs, or other mechanisms. And so that's another really important aspect of what sort of mechanism might be the most appropriate. And so for something that's involving the general public, that kind of just requires wrangling things like branding. If it's a consortium of universities, the branding needs to incorporate lots of different stakeholders. And so these are kind of big conversations and small conversations. And so basically the result of several several meetings is to build up a blueprint for what our plan is going to be. And so I'm not often left with just going away and doing it all. It's very much a collaborative approach. And so that's one of the more enjoyable aspects of this sort of territory, where we might have a proof of concept or a sample, and then always throughout the process, the integrity of the research needs to be the most important thing. And so, but sometimes research, just especially research that's communicated to the general public, is inaccessible. It might be too complicated, it might be boring, it might be not relevant. There's a whole process involved, and so it's a very iterative approach. And so that pretty much sums up a lot of the work that I would do when I'm collaborating with research academics, especially in relation to developing videos or other communication methods. One of the things I forgot to mention, and I'll wrap it up now, is I've supervised or coordinated the publishing of several booklets that are maybe like a 20-page or a 50-page research findings booklet. And so again, sometimes they're appropriate for an audience at a conference. It's very, very specifically defined what language to use. Sometimes there's no pictures in these multi-volume publications, but then it's really nice to incorporate or even have a dedicated photo shoot, for example, to illustrate the findings or to somehow reconceive the processes or the kind of information into a more accessible format. A recent example that's pretty straightforward is some researchers that were looking at maths, how to teach maths to first-year students at university. They had all their findings from their process, but then we invented personas. We kind of consolidated a lot of their findings, and then we framed them as a human story of a person in a situation, and these are some of the obstacles, this is how they were solved. And then we developed some activities that were action items so that someone reading the book would be able to apply their own situation to link the kind of information with their own world, making the dissemination of the information more effective and more meaningful for the target audience.